Hey everyone, it's Evan from the Trade Risk, Sunday, February 8th, and I got a couple of trade ideas to think about going forward this week. And I did my weekly recap blog post already on some analysis on the broad market indices. So if you're looking for a snapshot of where I see the market right now, go check out thetraderist.com, the last post there, to get my take on the indices. In this video, we're going to just look at some ideas. So we'll start off with ACHC. This one had a strong day on Friday. It had a strong week, really. If you take a look here, you can see it's been in this channel now for almost 2 months, or a little over 2 months, and it's come a pretty good way from the bottom end at 56 to breaking out above $60. Had a nice close on Friday. Now you also have some resistance here right around 63.50. So, you could wait until price gets above 63.50 for a nice clear, an all clear signal going forward. But for now, this one looks good. It's been in a very strong uptrend. This is a monthly chart, so definitely a lot of momentum has been pent up in this, but could get ready to make another leg higher. So you want to keep that on watch. Next is Google. Google is starting to shape up here after its earnings report. It's sort of been lost in these lower 500 levels for some time now, just kind of loosely bouncing around. But this 530 to 535 range is a pretty significant resistance point. If you take a look back here, going back to 2014, this April, May, you can see how this contained price, and when it finally broke above it, it really got going and tested all the way up to the $600 level, and then it came back down, and it's finding resistance here again. So I think these relative highs here, these tails that you're seeing, I think if it can start to clear above 535, you might get Google, you might get a nice trade in Google to the midpoint or to the upper end of this range, maybe just to a 560 or so, or maybe to retest the high. So keep Google on watch. Could be setting up there this coming week. Next is Russia. The Russia ETF has been, Russian stock market has been, horrendous. Mostly, thanks to crude oil and crashing as it has. But Russia really seemed to have kind of washed out here back in December when it traded almost all the way down to about 1250 or so. It had a violent bounce back up, and then it's been just moving sideways. So it closed Friday right at the top end of some recent relative resistance, right around 1630. So I think, really you can own Russia here for a trade. I think if you get some continuation going into Monday, it could be a pretty interesting long candidate. Of course, you're dealing with a very long-term damaged trend, so you have to just make sure you're using stop losses, make sure you're trailing, you're taking profits, however you decide to manage the trade, but it could be worth some momentum to the upside there. Next is CDW. This one, $36 was the level I've been watching. It's a pretty recent IPO. This is a monthly chart, goes back to mid-2013. Very clean, very orderly. It's been resting now for about 1, 2, 3 months, and it could be ready to make a move here. So 36 bucks, all-time highs are just above here, so this one could get going. Next is CLH, $50. That's the breakout level I've been watching. It's been in a downtrend now for most of the second half of 2014, and ever since October, it's sort of been now kind of ping-ponging sideways here. $50 is a clear breakout level. We're just below it, so keep this on watch. This could get going and have some nice upside fuel to it. Now, a couple of short names going forward. Facebook. Facebook has sort of been struggling still. It's been in a very, a very long range now, and it's just been moving sideways. The bulk of the movements happened between 73.75 and 78.50, and a couple of times it's popped up, but then it's quickly come back down in both those cases. So we had 2 tests of 73.75 last week. They both held, but now you can see Friday's candle, pretty ugly candle, basically almost sort of telling us that it wants to come back down and test this again. And I think if it tests it again, it could be in trouble. So keep Facebook on watch, 73.75. It's held up beautifully now for quite some time, but it could be due for some type of corrective action. Another short idea is BIDU. BIDU, had a pretty poor session on Friday. Also, you can see how tight it was the week before. Look at these candles here, all just hanging out at the lows. Couldn't really get anything going. A lot of inside days, a lot of overlapping candles. Friday sort of really set the tone, closed on the lows, and now it's challenging this pretty important 213 level. So look for some continuation to the downside here. Could have a pretty big topping pattern here. Early to say that for sure, but just keep an open mind. Look at what's happening here. So you could you could have some follow through to the downside here. Maybe test this 200 level or these October lows. So keep BIDU on watch. And then finally, just some names that have moved. We've talked about some of these names. Zendesk. This had a brilliant move on Friday, back above 25 and a quarter. This thing seems to be just the bane of my existence. I think I bought it on this candle here, and this turned out to be a pretty ugly false breakdown, breakout, sorry, that we got quickly stopped out of the following day. And I think I tried to pick it up once more in here. So this thing keeps taking some small losses for me, but and I'm not in it now, but keep this one on watch. It could shape up nicely after basing for so long. And then another one that made a move, NXPI Semiconductor. This one made a move above 80.75, this trigger level I was watching. It didn't close quite at the highs, but still a pretty strong close. This is all-time highs for the name. Take a look at this monthly chart. It's been 2011 or so was the IPO, but it's been just in a very orderly monthly uptrend. So look for that to continue. So that's all I have for some trade ideas. I hope that helps. Hope some of these will fit your trading style. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.